We've just heard reports that the Taliban have started to enter the Afghan capital of Kabul from all sides. This is an AP report. We don't know much more at this point than that bare information that's been reported, but this is gravely concerning news. Afghanistan is in the grips of a serious humanitarian crisis. Joel, this is created entirely by Joe Biden's withdrawal of the troops. He was not prepared and didn't expect a Taliban resurgence. We just heard that in the clips I played from his press conference just last month in July. He said this would not happen. How did the US get this so wrong with 20 years to prepare?
G'day, Sharri. Well, first of all, I should point out that it was initially Donald Trump's withdrawal, and sadly, it was a withdrawal that we were always going to have. It does appear to me that very few things were negotiated with the Taliban, or too few things at least were negotiated, and we left without leaving any rules or conditions behind. And if that report about Kabul falling is not accurate, it's inevitable in any case within the next few days. So it's a sad day, or will be a sad time when that moment comes, but it was eminently predictable. But it doesn't mean that we didn't do good things in Afghanistan, and it doesn't mean our people in Afghanistan in uniform didn't do amazing things, courageous things, skillful things on behalf of our nation.
Jason, you know, the US is now sending 5,000 troops back into the combat zone in order to evacuate their American diplomats. They're fleeing the embassy there. But what of the Afghan people?
Well, precisely, Sharri. And once again, if that statement has ever been true, it has never been truer now, that those people who refuse to learn from history are doomed to relive it. You know, the fact of the matter remains that it was possible to leave people in Afghanistan. We still have peacekeeping troops in the Sinai Desert. This was a humanitarian exercise at this point. The people of Afghanistan were made promises by the West, and frankly, we have let them down. And the withdrawal by Joe Biden, because he felt that he couldn't continue on when, you know, you were more likely in the United States to die from being a police officer in Philadelphia than you were from being an active combat troop in Afghanistan. All the courage that Joel talks about of our troops, of the troops of our allies, now looks, if these reports are true, to have been for naught. And let's be very clear, there will be a lot of women who went to school because of the intervention by the Western allies who will no longer have access to education under the Taliban. This is a very sad day.
And Joel, Jason's right. You know, it's not just the opportunities that women were afforded that they will no longer have, but the fact is when Sharia law is imposed and as the Taliban sweeps through Afghanistan, the bloodshed, the death toll, the number of people who are displaced. I mean, this is now going to be one of the worst, you know, one of the worst humanitarian disasters in the globe at the moment.
And certainly the situation is bad, Sharri, but we went initially into Afghanistan with a very good purpose, and that is to stop Afghanistan continuing to be a breeding ground and training camp for terrorists who would do bad things right around the world, including
and we failed.
Australians.
But we failed.
No, we haven't. No, well, I don't think we have failed.
The Taliban is a terror group, and it's now stronger than ever.
Please let me finish, Sharri. No, we did not fail on that mission. Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden were driven out of Afghanistan, and I'm going to make a brave prediction. I doubt that the new Taliban regime will offer host to terrorist groups into the future. But that mission was complete a long time ago, arguably prior to 2007. What the West has been trying to do in Afghanistan since that time, with a great deal of frustration, is to build their economic capacity, build a health system, an education system, train the Afghan National Army and the Afghan National Police in order for them to maintain the peace and government control in that country. But that has failed dismally. And the reason the Taliban has been able to move so rapidly is that the opposition has basically acquiesced and just let them run. In some cases, many cases, in fact, join them. So the question becomes, will Afghanistan be a better place for our 20 years of intervention? It's an open question, but certainly we've kept Australians safe for the last 2 decades, and I think they'll be safer in the future. It's hard to see it being a good place. In fact, it's going to be a terrible place. Will it be the worst place in the world when compared to Yemen and Somalia and southern Sudan? No, it won't be. And we can't stick around there forever trying to make it a better place. So the US withdrawal is not a Biden withdrawal, it's an American withdrawal. And it was a long time coming. I thought it was done badly in the end. But as Jason points out, Afghans have had a taste of democracy. We'll see where that takes them. I hope the Taliban has learned its lesson on hosting terrorist groups like Al-Qaeda. Close to a generation of girls have enjoyed an education, which can be which I think is an encouraging thing for the country. But certainly at the moment, it's going to hell in a basket. There's no doubt about that.
All right. Well, look, I'm sure we'll keep examining this closely in the weeks to come.